Hello, I'm Mike, and in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what the best AI model to use with OpenClaw is from this point on. Quick recap, you might have seen it on my channel earlier in the week. Claude pulled the ability to use your Claude Max unmetered plan for OpenClaw. So now we're in the wild, trying to find the AI model with the best personality. Let's dive in. Now, first I noticed just the other day, actually, Peter Steinberger, creator of OpenClaw, has said he's been working on character evaluations and noticed something pretty strange, that Claude would constantly pick itself as number one. So I'm going to do a totally unscientific experiment to make sure that doesn't happen and give you the answer by the end of this video. And the answer may surprise you. First, you'll see I've been doing experiments with my health AI bot, as this is something I use every day, and the personality has been absolutely nuked since I've stopped using Claude Opus 4.6 for the brains. Now you'll see I'm on the latest version of OpenClaw here, and if I type in /models like this, you'll see I get a list of a bunch of models. Yes, I've been playing with them all. Anthropic, Google, even Inflections Pi. Do we remember that one? No, maybe not. Ollama, OpenAI, Codex, OpenRouter, and even XAI. So you can be sure this video will be super thorough. So let's start an experiment going in Claude Code. You can see I've run a couple of instances here on my health AI agent, and I've asked it to give me an AI-generated daily summary that was created before the 4th of April, so we could see some of the stuff Opus was making for me. It was really good, by the way. So in this Claude Code instance, I'm saying now list all the AI models available in this OpenClaw instance and give them code names, present the results in a table. Oh my goodness me. So now we've got this all sorted, I'll say, I would like you to spin up some subagents to test all these models in parallel on exactly the same health summary you just presented, the one for Wednesday, the 25th of March, 2026. For the evening. Then save the results to a results.md file, use the code name of the model. This is important so there's no bias when we go to analyze these results, and any tool calls that fail or don't work, any failures at all, and save the raw output of each model so we can judge personality and also the cost if you can get it, noting that OpenAI's Codex plan and Ollama also have unlimited, essentially, because you're paying monthly. Now, while that's happening, let's look at some really interesting monthly subscription options that you can use right now to power your OpenClaw instance. And the first one that's really interesting is Ollama. Now, you might say, Mike, hang on, that's the thing you install locally. Yes, you can do, and you can run your own local models, and if you have a powerful machine, it's definitely worth a shot. But if we look at some of their recent posts, for instance, about GLM 5.1, they're encouraging you to try their models on OpenClaw. They're even reposting Peter Steinberger and reposting updates to OpenClaw, so you can see Ollama is supporting OpenClaw and allowing usage of their plans to power it. And as you'll see here, they have some really interesting cloud plans. I actually paid this week for the $20 a month plan so I can test it out, and it's actually incredible. I found I don't even need the $100 a month plan yet. I've literally been hammering the $20 a month plan all week, and well, you can see my weekly usage has not even reached 10% of usage, so it's pretty incredible, and it's just about to reset as well. In terms of models, yep, they got the latest and greatest, open source, GLM 5.1, the new Gemma 4 from Google, which is actually not too bad, NVIDIA's Nemotron, Minimax M2.7, so you can really play with a lot of different models for a very small monthly fee. I should say at this point, this is not sponsored. Let's switch over to Ollama and look at all the models that I've been playing with. Yes, there are loads of them, from DeepSeek to Gemini 3 on there as well, Gemma 4, GLM 5.1, the open source GPT model, Kimi K 2.5. Wow, I've just said to my AI, hello, you there? Loud and clear, still on recovery duty today. Yeah, I didn't sleep too well. Gemma 4 is actually quite spicy. I love the use of emojis and the general conversational tone. For a free and open source model that you can potentially host at home, this is a good start. Let's switch models and we'll go for Ollama, and this time I'll go for the one that's getting all the hype recently, well certainly as I've been seeing on X, GLM 5.1. And we'll see what GLM 5.1 Cloud does. Now, one thing I will say about the Ollama plan, while it's nice and it's unmetered and you pay a monthly fee, it's actually pretty slow. I'm talking to you in real time, and I haven't yet had a response from my OpenClaw agent. This is taking quite a while. There we go, in real time. I didn't edit that bit. That is how long it's taken GLM 5.1 on Ollama Cloud to reply. And what I've noticed with Ollama, while you can test a load of great open source and small and free models, it's pretty slow inside OpenClaw. Next up, I signed up to OpenRouter and I stuck some money in there too so I could try even more AI models on a pay-as-you-go basis. As you'll see, one of the best things about OpenRouter is you can actually explore model and app rankings, and you can look at the best models for different things. So for instance, if I want to, I can scroll down and I can look at different use cases, like for instance, let's see here, health. And for health, I can see Gemini really crushing it at the top of the charts, followed by Claude and Grok as well. So now I can go back to models and get that nice model list. And this time I'll go to my OpenRouter, and again, I've got a load of different models I've been playing with. Lots of them I've already tested over on Ollama, but one that I was particularly interested in is Xiaomi have created an AI model. So let's select that one and see what happens. Hello, are you there? Let's see how long it takes to reply. Again, in real time, I'm waiting for my OpenClaw to respond, and we'll see how long this one takes. It's taking some time. Oh, there it is. Yep, right here. What do you need, Mike? It took quite a while just to respond with that phrase. Let's try something. I'm writing, give me a weather report for Limassol. Now, this is quite interesting because it means the Xiaomi model will need to make a tool call to access my weather skill to find out what today's weather is. That one took quite a little bit longer, maybe about 30 seconds, but now we can see it's pulled in all the weather and it's actually looking pretty decent. So definitely OpenRouter is a great playground to consider. It's not got an unlimited subscription plan you have to keep sticking money in, but you can do auto top up and pick a model with very low charges per token and potentially get decent outputs. Now, interestingly enough, looking at the original X post from Peter Steinberger on testing different models, someone's actually asked, have you tried with Grok? And he says, nah, it's not good at tool calling. Well, let's put that to the test with my health AI agent and see what Grok does for me. So back over here in Telegram, I've invoked models again. Let's go to XAI. I'm going to use the very latest Grok 4.20 beta latest reasoning. Okay, with Grok invoked, I'll say pull my latest Garmin stats and summarize. And let's see if Grok can make a tool call and give me a coherent summary. Okay, that took about 20 seconds, so a bit faster than OpenRouter. So tool calling seems to be okay if you're using the very latest Grok model. The personality, well, it's definitely not as good as Claude Opus 4.6, but it gets the job done. Also interesting to note in my tests, I've got the XAI dashboard here. Let's actually refresh it. And look at that. It actually cost just 1 cent to do that tool call and response. That's incredibly cheap. I've also been testing OpenAI models, not through the Codex plan, but unmetered. And as you can see, just this week, I've spent just over $15 testing my OpenClaw instances. So even OpenAI, when it's not unmetered, is, well, fairly costly. I actually did a test earlier in the week, just like the one you've seen with Grok, where it called a tool and gave me a health report, and that cost me 36 cents. So arguably 36 times more when metered on OpenAI's platform. But the real shocker here is I set up an API key in Anthropic's platform to test my health reports on Claude Opus 4.6, and you'll see the cost here is $3.20. On average, to do a tool call and give me a daily health report, Claude Opus 4.6 was costing about $1.11 a go, which basically means I'd be paying over $33 a month just for a daily health report. Totally cost prohibitive. Now I know what you're thinking, I can't use these juicy plans anymore, that $100 looks really tempting. And why use Opus for a daily summary when you could use Sonnet? And that's probably what I'd do in the future if I was to stick with Claude pay-as-you-go plans. Okay, and in the time it's taken me to show you everything, we can actually see here that 21 of my tests passed, 3 failed across the 24 models we started to test at the beginning of this video. You can see actually DeepSeek version 3.2 failed with a bad request. The model rejected the prompt, so DeepSeek is out of the running. Qwen 3.6 plus free, I was playing with that earlier in the week, but they depreciated that. That's expected. And unfortunately, my Codex plan hit its rate limit. So now you'll see here, I've got all the results in a nice markdown file, which I can copy. and then go to my other instance of Claude Code. So I've written here, I'd like you to become familiar with the Soul MD of Health Mike, that's my AI agent, and how it's supposed to behave, and then rate all the summaries you see. Okay, look at this. The ratings are coming in. It's rating against all of the instructions that I've given, and it's scoring each AI model here. Very soon, we're going to find out the very best AI model in terms of personality, tool calling, and speed inside OpenClaw. Okay, so now that tier list, and let's start with, yeah, you wouldn't believe it, but Gemma 4 is going in the D. It was rated through my very scientific experiment 4.5 out of 10. Feedback on my test was it was way too thin, no advice, no opinions. Next up in C tier is, yes, NVIDIA's Nemotron. It came in at 6 out of 10, and the feedback was too compressed, lost personality, reads like a dashboard, and loads of M dashes when it was told specifically not to use M dashes in the system prompt. Joining Nemotron in the C tier is, yeah, you wouldn't believe it, xAI's Grok 4.20. The feedback was M dashes everywhere, a rule violation, checkboxes for things that are already done, corporate motivational poster energy with no opinions. So sorry, Elon, looks like more work is required on Grok's latest model. Now, Mistral is also joining xAI and Nemotron in the C tier. It actually got a feedback of 6 out of 10, and it was extremely terse. Good voice, but the wind down sounded fabricated. It made stuff up. So Mistral Large 3, also sitting there in C tier. Now, here's an AI model I'd never heard of, but it was on Ollama, so why not? Cogito 2.1, also sadly joining the C tier with a 5.5 out of 10. Its advice was filler. Let's aim for a sweet spot of deep sleep tonight. And the structure is fine, but the personality of a generic fitness app, so it's going there in C. Sadly, also joining the C tier, and I wanted this to do better, with 5 out of 10 is GPT's own open source model, 120 billion parameter flavor. Yes, I would have thought that would have done better, but the report came back. It was a wall of text generated with M dashes everywhere, and it just made things up like you did a kettlebell workout today when I didn't. So GPT OSS definitely down in C tier. Now we move up into the B tier, and this is kind of usable stuff. And straight out the box, well, it didn't work on the Codex plan, but I did test via the API. GPT 5.4 hits B tier. Why? Well, it's a 7 out of 10 with good voice, decent brevity, didn't use emojis like the soul instructed it to, and it says if you wake up feeling good, do a workout, which my AI judged as wishy-washy. Now, the personality might not be quite there. It's definitely a 7 out of 10 model. It'll do, so potentially worth the Codex plan. Now, another model that came up in my testing that I'd never heard of before was StepFund's Step 3.5 Flash model. This is really interesting. It got a 6.5 out of 10, which just placed it in the B tier. It was okay. It had excellent brevity, almost a little bit too terse, but kind of lacked fire. So sitting down there in B. One of the best things is it's one of the cheapest models on my list, so if you want a very cheap model to power your OpenClaw and you're not too fussed about personality, Step 3.5 Flash could be it. Also sitting in B tier with 6.5 out of 10 no matter if I used Flash or Pro was the latest Gemini 3.1 models. Looking at the Flash preview model, 6.5 out of 10 with decent structure. It gave me some feedback on some of my results, but it was a bit generic and pump up. And then when I used Gemini 3.1 Pro preview, it said the opener was clean, good structure. It was following the roleplay of Andrew Huberman, which I'd actually put in my prompt. And it said, again, reads slightly performative and hyperbolic, and not quite 100%, which is why it sits in B tier. Now we're moving to the A tier and kicking us off with 8 out of 10 Minimax M2.7 with a strong voice throughout, as classified by my AI experiment. Joining in the dizzy heights of A tier, but not quite as good as Minimax with a 7.5 out of 10 was Moonshot AI's Kimi K 2.5. It said solid, best middle of the road model with punchy Wim Hof energy that I also asked for. Nothing to falter here. And this one was the dark horse in the A tier, Xiaomi's Mimo model. This is crazy. Mimo V2 Pro actually scored A tier with a solid 8 out of 10. Here's some of the feedback. It actually said, excellent voice, no screen blue light lecture needed. You know the drill. Treats Mike like an adult and has punch. So there it is in A tier. Xiaomi. good air purifiers, and decent AI models. Well, there we go. Before we get into the S tier, and I think you can maybe guess one of the models that's coming at least, please do me a big favor by subscribing to my channel. It's still apparent to me that a large percentage of you, over 70% of people who watch this video, are not currently subscribed. So if that's you, hit subscribe and like, as well as I do videos like this weekly. Okay, so let's get to the AI model. No one's surprised. Yes, in the S tier still is our beloved Claude. You can't beat it. Now maybe you need to pay the pay-as-you-go API fees because it really is that good. Firstly, Opus 4.6 rated 8.5 out of 10, saying it had dry wit, punchy data, and even used some of my historical data to give me insights. Opus really cannot be beaten. But also rated at 8.5 out of 10 and sitting there in S tier is Claude Sonnet 4.6. It said framing is excellent, on point, data is grounded, not empty praise, specific and actionable. So if you're worried about the cost of Opus 4.6 and having runaway bills, maybe switch your OpenClaw to Claude Sonnet 4.6 and you probably won't lose much. But now here's the one you've been waiting for. It is indeed ZAI, or for my friends across the pond, ZAI's GLM 5.1 Cloud. Here's the feedback it gave, 8.5 out of 10, the same as the Claude models. It said the style was great, the data is grounded, direct coaching tone, and very close to the original health AI voice that Mike's been using, which was running on Opus 4.6 via a Claude Max plan. So GLM 5.1 seems to be the biggest swap out you can do right now. And here's the kicker, you can actually access it on an Ollama Pro account at just $20 a month or $200 a year if you pay annually. That's pretty cool. So there it is, the full tier list. No affiliations or sponsorship in this video, just trying to run a scientific test so you can figure out which AI model you should be using going forward for your OpenClaw instance. Please do let me know down below which AI model will be running most of your OpenClaws. I'm kind of thinking about subscribing to the new $100 a month OpenAI Codex plan. That sounds really tasty, but sitting there in my B tier, maybe I should just pay $20 a month to Ollama, use GLM 5.1 and be done with it. Let me know what you think. As always, like, subscribe, and there's loads more videos on my channel about OpenClaw and other AI tools, so I hope to see you at one of those. In fact, there is a video showing on your screen right now that you should watch next. Thanks.